everybody. Welcome to the Market Down podcast. I'm Nick Cummings, joined today by Chad Big Bad Johnson, Danny Hernandez, and James Gisante. We got a lot to go over today, guys. Big week. Let's get right into it. We're going to start off here with this entire NXT saga and all the drama that's going on behind the scenes at WWE. Apparently, Vince McMahon has been very upset with all the going-ons in NXT, including, but not limited to, the fact that they have lost the quote-unquote ratings war to AEW. It appears Triple H is beginning to lose some of his power and grip over NXT. An entirely new direction is going to be taken for the show. And it appears men like James Laurinaitis are going to be the guys who are going to be driving it. So, James, I'll start with you. We'd love to know your thoughts on this, what's going on there, and what do you think the new direction of NXT might look like?
I think we're going to see NXT going back to what it initially was always intended to be, which is just a developmental. And I think we could all agree that the NXT of the most recent years hasn't really been a developmental. It's maybe been a reshaping for guys, but a lot of the main talent has all been pre-established stars. And I think that really started with like Neville and Sami Zayn. They were the first guys that I could say, okay, I knew who they were before NXT. And then it really went full tilt with Balor and Hideo Itami, Kenta. Mm-hmm. And then full on with Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, so many of the main talent were guys that had already won championships all over the world. So it became more just a hard-hitting wrestling brand as opposed to the developmental. And I think now that this new re-emphasis is happening with Laurinaitis and apparently Vince being unhappy, I think we're just going to see them training these guys who, I keep hearing the big guy thing, but who knows if that's actually true. But we are just going to be seeing these guys being groomed for main roster again. NXT is not the third brand, or at least I don't think it's going to be the third brand anymore. It's just going to be their, let's get these guys ready for Raw and SmackDown brands. And that's sad to me. I loved what NXT has become. I did think it was starting to become a little stagnant, but I don't blame any of the talent there. If I'm Adam Cole, if I'm Johnny Gargano, if I'm Tommaso Ciampa, I'm happy in NXT. I am thriving in NXT. Why would I want to leave NXT? But when the brand is not meant for long-term sustenance, it's hard to keep those guys there for a long period of time. So I, like everyone, am nervous. I am scared to see what's coming for NXT. But who knows? I'm not going to knock it. I remember when NXT was a game show, and that game show gave us the Nexus. That game show gave us Daniel Bryan. That game show gave us eventually Bray Wyatt. So who knows what this new form of NXT will be.
It also gave us one of the greatest announcing segments ever of CM Punk just being meta as all hell for half an hour.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My Diet Coke, John.
But yeah, Chad, Danny, what do you guys think?
I'm with you. I'm on the fence. I feel like NXT has been, I do agree it's been a little stagnant lately, but that's going to happen when you have two other major shows, and this is supposed to be, the stepchild. I feel like Vince is a little upset because he sees that it's going to broaden horizons, and it might be bigger than, let's face it, it's better than Raw and SmackDown right now already anyway. But I'm with you. I'm very hopeful that with the new situation that at least we still get flashes of the game shows and the quirky offbeat, like, hey, we're just starting, but it's going into something and grooming these wrestlers. But it's sad, man. It is sad. NXT has been great. That's my bread and butter. Everyone knows that's my show. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but what can I do?
It's a little upsetting, but yeah, I think there is room for optimism there because, like, as much as it's the third brand, 3 brands is too many, first of all. We really need a third brand. And if it's a third brand, how is it developmental? Like, it's not doing its original job. And regardless of that, the call-ups don't work anyway. So something about the transfer from NXT to Raw or SmackDown isn't working regardless, no matter how good it is. As much as you could just repeat the process of NXT on the main roster, they don't do that, and it doesn't work. What's the last good NXT call-up we had? Kevin Owens? Like,
you could argue Drew McIntyre, but does he really count? I mean, he was there for 10 whole minutes.
Yeah, I barely count Drew. Like, for Drew, it's like a, hey, welcome back, get your feet wet again, and then right back up.
Well, how do we feel about
better use of NXT, honestly?
How do we feel about Nakamura? Is he's after Owens? No?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. After the gender stuff and then not beating Styles, like, he is someone that should have been a main eventer that is just.
I know he won the Royal Rumble, for God's sake.
Yeah, he really coasted.
Best Royal Rumble, like, since 2001. Like, that Royal Rumble was amazing.
I personally, I'm sorry, Danny. Please, I'm sorry.
No.
I was stepping on you. I personally think that's more of a failure on the emphasis of NXT than any of the failures of the guy coming to the main roster. I know this is probably a controversial opinion, but when you treat NXT as a bigger deal than it was initially intended to be, you are then inevitably going to be disappointed when every main eventer, every world champion to come out of NXT doesn't repeat that success on the main roster. But that's not the reality of how that job works. Not everyone is supposed to be a world champion. If every NXT champion we got became a world champion on the main roster, the amount of turnaround on that belt we would have had over the last few years would have been insane.
That's true. I agree.
I
concur.
Looking at just the last few NXT champions, you go from Karrion Kross to Keith Lee to, prior to Keith Lee was Adam Cole to Adam Cole. Balor, who did succeed. You have Nakamura, you have Bobby Roode, you have Andrade, who, Danny, I know you wanted a world championship out of him. You have incredible talent. And I love all of those guys. I think all of them are worthy of being a world champion. But do you say you put the world title on every single one of those guys because they came from NXT and they were successful in NXT?
Absolutely not.
No. But now this guy who was the big deal, the champion in NXT, is struggling in the mid card on the main roster. They're lucky if they get a US championship out of it or an intercontinental championship out of it. And I don't blame the main roster, but how do you make that transition from big fish in a little pond to now big-ish fish?
It is.
You're still large. There's always a bigger fish.
Yeah, there's always a bigger fish, Qui-Gon.
But it's all their water, though. So
no, of course. So I think that's why you saw guys like Gargano and Ciampa say, "I'm good. I don't need to go to the main roster. I'd rather get another NXT World Championship out of this. I'd rather be the main eventer here and put on incredible matches
than
go to the main roster." So
and even if this whole overhaul of NXT is coming to fruition, I don't think the guys like Gargano and Ciampa have anything to worry about because they're not going to just get rid of all the veterans and only have rookies. They still need veterans to work with the rookies and make them better and put on matches with them. So those guys who don't want to leave, they can stay there and they'll always have a spot. At least the guys like Gargano and Ciampa, I think.
A month ago, I would have agreed with you. But then all these cuts. No, I truly don't know who is safe other than Roman Reigns, maybe Seth Rollins, and Becky Lynch. If you're not one of those three people, I don't know that you have a guaranteed job anymore.
And Randy.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you that for certain.
No, I think
I
Randy's
love-
pretty secure.
I love Randy. I think he is their true long-term guy, more than almost anybody else. I think he is their guy for however long. But if he did get released tomorrow, yeah, my jaw would drop. But then I'd be like, okay, it's not that shocking considering everybody else they got rid of.
That's true. I agree
So,
with that. Yeah.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. There's no loyalty there, at least none that we've seen.
At all.
I think a thing that's been going on with NXT, at least for me, is the fact that it's become more of a part of the main brand now as the quote unquote third brand instead of just developmental. And even before that, like before, honestly, really before Kevin Owens came up to answer the US Open Challenge with the NXT title, it wasn't really part of the WWE. I'm trying to think of the word, like universe, not like the audience, but you know, like the timeline, for lack of a better phrase, you know,
Right.
where it was always kind of separate, and then guys would come up and it would just everything they did was ignored, and it still kind of is, but like it was accepted that like, okay, these guys are new and they're just coming up out of nowhere. Same thing with like when OVW was producing guys all the time, it would come up and that was it. Like they were just a brand new character. Like everything Brock Lesnar did in OVW didn't matter. Everything Cena did there didn't matter. Everything Keith Orton did there didn't matter. You know? So I don't know. I feel like in a way it actually ended up hurting NXT.
Yep.
Because
I
it
agree.
became so like important that and just the fact that it was really fucking good.
It was.
You know? That, you know, like it became such a big part of the wrestling ethos just in general that like they had to start acknowledging it, and then it just ended up blowing up in their faces. But we've got to move on. We got a lot to move on. Got a lot to get to today.
Right.
So we're gonna go into the ring now and talk about the biggest thing that happened, at least in America. Christian Cage defeating Kenny Omega for the Impact / TNA championships on Rampage Friday night.
Yeah, buddy.
Apparently, one of the peeps is in the building.
I am
also
wearing
a
a
peep.
Kenny Omega shirt. I love Kenny. Kenny is my boy. But I was so happy to see Christian shut everyone up. Everyone who was so upset about him being in the main event at All Out. Everyone who has been saying, why did he go to AEW if he's just going to be pushing these young guys up? Why didn't he stay in WWE and be Edge's buddy?
Preach.
I am so happy to see him standing on his own 2 feet and being recognized, especially with how bad they botched his debut, which wasn't his fault. And it was just people's expectations were through the roof because of some bad wording, in my opinion. So
Future Hall of Famer was not the way to put that. I mean, it's right.
Is it wrong? It's
right. But then like people are like, oh, is Kurt Angle coming? And it's like, is Punk coming?
But I would argue that Christian is a better debut than Kurt Angle now in 2021.
Yes, absolutely.
Because
Kurt
Angle would have added nothing to AEW. Like he was in his retirement tour, he really didn't have it anymore. Something from the time he got back to WWE to that like last year, like he lost it. Right before he came back, he still had it, but once he came back, so I don't know. I feel like a good portion of that is on us. Like,
oh, absolutely.
It was.
We started to think Punk. That was on us. No one said Punk. It's not like now where everyone's hinting at Punk, and we all know it's Punk, but they're not saying it's Punk. They never gave us any hint that it would be Punk, and we just projected that onto them.
I mean, if
Wrestling
we're being
fans?
objective, I mean, was the packaging that bad? Isn't that how you sell Christian? I mean,
yes.
Literally, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's a legend. He's been in the game 20 plus. He has accolades. He has defeats. He's been to the pinnacle and more. How else do you know? So it's definitely on us. I mean, how else can you introduce Captain Charisma?
Yeah. I think the lack of probably hinting at who it would be, like I think now they're learning their lesson with Punk, which we'll probably get to a bit later, but they just let the speculation get so wild that everyone, it got a little too big for its britches, and then it got completely blown up. But now you're getting back to the title win here. I'm very happy. I like Christian a lot. I'm very thrilled that he won this match and that title. I'm now just curious to see where they're going with this belt collector thing, because I thought Kenny was going to hold all of those belts through at least the end of the year and maybe even longer. Like, I didn't think anyone was going to touch him. I thought he might even get a belt or two from New Japan, depending on how their relationship went. Like, I thought the man was going to look like that Triple H picture that's photoshopped, and he's holding every title that has ever been held in any promotion anywhere ever.
Put some respect on Ultimo Dragon's name. The man actually held all those belts in that picture. Come on. But
now I just don't. Sorry, I don't know where it's going. Like, he lost,
but
he's only down to 2 titles.
Let's
and
talk about the pros. Great. Let's talk about the pros.
Yeah, I think there's a story to be told here, and I trust AEW. But I'm just
right.
It's not where I thought it was going.
I also think, I mean, as a wrestling fan, of course, anything unexpected is great to me anyway. So I say, let Christian do his thing for a minute. He deserves it. I mean, I don't think anyone can honestly say he doesn't deserve it.
No.
Everyone knows he's a workhorse. I mean, it's shocking, of course, but when you add the shock value to wrestling, we get the best moments we've ever had. So, I mean, I'm with you. I do agree that we have to see how the story goes over time and whatnot. But for now, I'm cool with it. I'm living in the moment. I like it.
I like the way they did it too, where the Bucks and Don ended up accidentally screwing him over.
Yeah.
Right.
Amazing. I thought that ended up going very well.
And can we acknowledge? Well, clean is tough, but
turnabout is fair play though.
Subjective.
Yeah. Oh, did it? Yeah. I think we all need to acknowledge that might be the best unprettier sell in the history of that move.
You mean the light switch there, Tyler?
Kill switch. My bad.
We both got it wrong.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it was the name once upon a time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Tyler Breeze used it too as the Predator.
Oh yes, he did. Prince Pretty.
I think I think. Well, I want Danny to go because I'm going to go into a tirade for a second. So I want to make sure
let the man catch his breath.
No problem. I was kind of surprised, not too surprised, because I think we heard. I mean, if they were going to have the match twice, once on Rampage and once again on All Out, you got to figure that was for Christian to win the TNA title, and it makes sense. Like, he has the history with Impact, and no offense to Christian, because I don't mean this to be as offensive as it might sound. It's just the TNA title. Who cares? Like Christian won that one off Kenny. Sorry, James. That's just no offense to you, James. Sorry.
He's won it before too. Well, the TNA title technically is his first Impact title reign, but we're getting into technicalities here.
That's true.
All right, James, you just got stabbed through the heart, James. Go ahead. Everyone lay out. Let him go.
Everyone's gonna get this over time. The more they listen to us, I am definitely going to be the Impact guy of this show, and I will wave that flag proudly. Because that company has put in a lot of work lately. Like, truth be told, even before Kenny got there, they were really putting in the work. But since he's been there, it's like they kicked it up a gear. So to talk about the title change, again, I said it, I'm proud of Christian. This feels like a nice feather in his cap at this stage in his career.
Yeah.
To go into the belt collector gimmick, I think we're going to start to see that go away a little bit. I think this is going to be less about being the belt collector and more about Kenny slowly but surely losing it.
Yes,
and
I agree.
Turning into Gollum, protecting his precious AEW title. I think if Kenny loses the AAA title, I mean, we're going to get into his match with Andrade in a bit. But if Kenny does eventually lose that AAA title, so be it. But I think that's going to push the story with him in the AEW title even further to see how dastardly this villain can get to protect that belt. We've already seen him cheat time and time again to defend it. And he hasn't cheated to defend the Impact title. He didn't have the cleanest of matches for the AAA title, and but most of his defenses of that title have been clean. It's the AEW title that we're seeing this guy going out of his way to pull out every trick a heel can to retain.
And that alone tells a story.
I don't think he's retained it cleanly, right? I mean, technically the triple threat match, there's no DQ, but Don got involved and threw all the titles and he whacked everybody with them. He won the title dirty. He's defended it. Like, I don't remember.
I think he had one clean defense of it on Dynamite at one point, but I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they were all dirty.
The Phoenix match, maybe.
Wasn't maybe
yeah.
the Phoenix match?
Yeah, Ray Phoenix. Yeah, good one. Good memory there. But that's the point. Like, we had to think about it. This man is cheating. And it's not even that he's cheating in just I can't beat these guys kind of way. Because you can see he's Kenny Omega. Even in those matches, he's putting on the performance of a dominant champion. It's just, he's putting out this, I will do whatever I need to defend this belt.
I also think that's going to end up telling a greater story in the long term with Hangman, because I think Kenny's the insecure one now. And Hangman is gaining his confidence, and they're slowly flipping places here.
Yeah.
But Kenny he handles it in a way different way. Hangman does. I want to get to two things real quick related to this before we move on. One, I just wanted to know your guys' thoughts on Rampage in general. Really quick, I thought it was a pretty solid debut episode. Obviously, the title change. And then Fuego getting that contract. I'm a big Fuego mark. So I'm very happy that he got it. And then I thought the Britt Baker match was good too. Just anybody quick thoughts on Rampage?
I'll start. That's how you fucking start a show. That's how you start a show. That's how you start a show. You give us title matches, contracts. That's the shit we need. I'm all for it. I love it.
For someone to win in their hometown. Don't they just feel like a bigger star when you go to your hometown, get a massive reaction, and win? Britt
is a great tweener right now, and it's great. Like, she's always. I saw somebody, I believe it was on Reddit, describe her as she's the popular girl who's like a bitch, but she really wants everyone's love and adoration. And I think that's the perfect description of her.
Yeah,
that was me in our group chat, actually.
I didn't want to say it. I wanted to see if you would take the credit, but it was Danny.
The other thing I wanted to get into real quick related to the title change was apparently Christian has also retired or is going to retire the TNA title again. It ran its course. Like it was used for Moose, I believe, in the beginning, right, James?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then having Kenny have an extra title there was pretty cool, just so we had 4 belts instead of 3. So I don't think, like, I got nothing for that. It's like, it's sad to see it go. I think it's a cool looking title, but it's ran its course. We send it back.
It's necessary.
It didn't even really make sense how Moose brought it back. Like, the story was he went to the Impact warehouse and found it and was like, I'm the TNA champion now. And I mean,
I saw Duggan win the hardcore title that way or something.
Who the hell
Didn't he
knows?
find it in the garbage?
But I mean, I'm not going to tell Moose he's not the TNA champion.
That's true.
Let him be champion.
But it was literally like he wasn't getting a title shot, right? And then he took the other championship, and then
something along those lines. Yeah. And it helped because there was a lot of apprehension about Rich Swann being the Impact champion. And I think he was a good champion. I think he was the perfect guy to drop the title to Kenny. And having Moose in the background saying, I'm Mr. TNA, I'm Mr. Impact. I think it worked, but yeah, I'm in agreement with everyone. It's time for the belt to go away. And let Christian be. It was cool to see Christian holding 2 belts, but I don't mind if on Impact he's just carrying the one. And just one thing I wanted to hit before we move on. I think it's entirely possible if they don't pull Christian out of the All Out main event. I think we're going to see title for title. I think, and maybe Kenny gets the belt back. Maybe I don't know. I think the best thing to come out of it, one way or the other, is that we're getting Christian Cage versus Brian Myers, and I would love to see Christian versus an Edgehead
And
Like, that's me.
Yeah.
Like there is like
That
a
is-
nice little dynamic there, and that match is happening this Friday on Impact Plus. So
Now I have to
you know,
watch.
yeah, check it out.
Have to.
All right.
Also, too, I also like the idea of former TNA champion Christian Cage retiring the TNA title belt too. So that's a solid way for it to come back full
Wasn't
circle.
he their first Hall of Famer in the Hall of Fame? First or
No,
second, right?
that had to have been Sting, right? It had
Yeah,
to.
it probably was Sting.
It's-
I would
Yeah.
imagine it would be.
I know Christian was with WWE and they let him go get inducted in the
Yeah.
TNA Hall of Fame. I know he had to be one of the first couple ones. Like, for
Yeah.
sure.
All right, well, moving on, but sticking with Kenny Omega, as we mentioned before. James.
Let's put pauses in between. That way for editing, if we got to cut stuff. All right. Remember we talked about the dead air for a second. So in between subjects, just let it be silent for a second and then move it. Perfect. It was a good transition, but let's just, all right.
Yeah, my bad.
No. You're doing great. Hands
Wow,
up
dude.
for the Reverend.
Absolutely.
Eric wanted us to do it all in one shot so we didn't have to edit that much, you know, but
Wait, is that actually what he wanted?
I don't know. He said that once for sure, but Eric says a lot of things. So.
Fuck Eric. He should be here.
Yeah, he's not even here. So yeah.
Hey, who's ever editing this? Keep this all in. Let's keep it rolling.
All of it.
All right.
His charm.
Yeah. Okay. So as I was saying, we're gonna stay related to Kenny Omega, and he had his match down in Mexico the other day. Rick against Andrade. Ric Flair was involved. I'm pretty sure Ric Flair slapped a figure 4 on to who was that? Oh,
Conan.
Yes, Conan. Thank you.
Conan?
Yeah, Conan was there, and Rick
the story is
slapped
great.
a figure 4 on him, and that clip was amazing. Kenny
Shit.
retained
I have
his
to watch.
Triple Omega Championship. James, I do believe you actually watched this as opposed to
Yeah.
the rest of us. So, would you like to give us some insight on the match itself? What you thought of it? And it's Rick fucking Flair.
Woo!
All right. So, a beautiful return to form for Andrade. I know that there's been a lot of apprehension since he's debuted in AEW. Personally, I think that apprehension is a little, Danny, I'm not in the mood for your sass.
Your sass.
Get that a lot.
Andrade had a decent match with Matt Sydal on Dynamite, and it was his first match in months. And it was his first match post WWE style of wrestling. And I think a lot of people judged him a little too harshly. This match with Kenny felt like a return to form to his NXT matches.
Okay.
And it was fantastic. Triple Mania is always a fun event. There tends to be a lot of drama. There tends to be a lot of shenanigans, and it did not disappoint in that department. As Nick said, Ric Flair got involved, was in Andrade's corner, which led to Conan being in Kenny's corner, because earlier in the day, Conan had offered his services to Andrade, and Andrade said, "No, thank you. I've got someone already to be in my corner." And that pissed off Conan, who's a heel in AAA.
Okay.
And he then lent his services to Kenny as a giant FU to Andrade. And even beyond, I'll get back to Kenny versus Andrade in a second, but Rick looked good. Let me say that, guys.
That's saying a lot.
It makes
Rick
me
did
happy.
not look like Rick in the last few years in WWE.
Right.
He had an energy, he had a vibrancy. It was fun seeing him chop Kenny. It was fun seeing him wheel and deal before doing the figure 4 onto Conan. As Andrade did the figure 4 to Kenny, it was just fun. It was absolutely a lot of fun. Everybody go watch it now. Triple Mania, Kenny Omega, Andrade. And Kenny retains the AAA title, which shocked most of us after he had lost the Impact title to Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little bit of drama. Well, drama is not the right word, but there was a little bit of
politicking,
I guess, with lots of parties and how this match was going to end. There were several pitched finishes from what I've heard.
Yeah. Well, Jay, we can get to that in a second. I'd like to hear Danny's thoughts considering that he hasn't been too thrilled with Andrade and his presentation in AEW so far. So, and I do have to kind of agree. I don't think it's been great, at least in terms of his promos with Chavo. I don't even really like the backstage stuff with Chavo too much. I kind of get what they're going for, but I think they need to let him speak a bit more, and we'll see how he does in the ring. But Danny, go ahead with your opinions on Andrade so far.
Sure. I mean, well, as far as AEW goes, like he's doing all right. He's doing better than he was doing on Raw. That's not saying much, but you know, I've said it to you guys already, but I just don't see a spot for him on the card where he thinks he should be at on the card. Like, but this applies to not just him, like not even people that I'm not as fond of, like even people I'm fond of, like they're like Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Like most people love them, but it's like, damn, like can you even see them being tag champions anytime in the next couple of years? Like, hey, maybe they win it on Wednesday, you know, but like they have such a stacked roster that there's so many people who are not going to be champion, even though they feel like main eventers. And to me, Andrade doesn't feel like one of those people who's the main eventer in the first place. So I don't think he's ever going to hit that peak in AEW. I won't speak on AAA because, you know, I don't watch. I don't have anything to say about that. But I don't know. I don't want to hate on the guy too much because he doesn't seem like he takes criticism well. You know,
and he did it. He hated on him without saying he was hating on him. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
I hate what we would call a work.
The
work.
I'm getting worked into a shoot right now, boys. I'm an Andrade fanboy.
I
he
also
does not take
resent.
criticism well. You saw how he snapped at Dave Meltzer for.
I resent the
like,
Jungle
small
Boy
person.
comments. I'm all in for Jungle Boy. I don't
No,
know
I am
why.
too. I want them to
can't
be.
explain
I just
Jungle
I don't
Boy is
know
one of
if
the
they
pillars
will
of their
be.
future.
I
Yeah,
agree.
Yeah.
He's
But
Yeah,
I do have to agree. I don't know when they could possibly, them being Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, when they could possibly win the tag titles within the near future. Like maybe sooner, you know, maybe
like 2 years.
2 years. But Danny's right. There's a lot of talent on that roster to the point where I almost have to agree. It's like you could put Andrade into the main event picture. Like it's
As a
obvious.
challenger, as a
Yes,
challenger.
yeah, you can definitely do it. Like he's that talented. He can obviously be up there, but he's probably going to occupy the same level of space that guys like, I know he just got there, but Aleister Black and then Cody and Miro
Malachi Black.
Thank you.
I
Apologies.
say Malachi Black's already way above Andrade. He
Maybe,
actually
but like
feels
it's
a main
that
event.
still upper mid card where like, and
Yeah.
even like MJF and Jericho are there right now because of just their whole feud. Like because the title picture is very, I'm going to go with protected.
Yeah.
There's that whole upper mid card, and that is the majority of AEW storylines.
And it's a great.
So he'll be involved. Yes, he'll be involved in. Andrade will be in everything, and he'll be involved in a lot of big stuff. And so I think he'll be a big player. But in terms of getting that title, it could be a while. Maybe he grabs the TNT title at some point, but he might. There's a chance he doesn't ever get that AEW title.
To piggyback off what you're saying with the mid card, to even compare like Malachi Black versus Cody and Andrade versus Pac, like they're different levels of mid card too. Like even in their vast, huge mid card, like I don't see an Andrade match getting past that because like Jericho and MJF, they are the top of that upper mid card. Like, and you could say Malachi Black Cody is right beneath them. Like, and Andrade Pac is like actual mid card, which is a shame because they're both good. Pac is better than mid card. You know, he should be upper mid card. But
I'm shocked.
He was in the title picture. He was in the title picture. He had the triple threat recently.
Yeah, he just came out. Like,
and he's just another one of those guys who's Andrade, Pac. There are always going to be guys who are threats at the title, and they can make them contenders. You know, you give them some wins, they move up the rankings, and then they're instant contenders. And the fact that AEW has so many, it's not even like there's like a mid card, obviously, but it's like there's the title picture and then the top of the card under it.
Right.
And then the upper mid card and the mid card. That's how stacked that roster is.
And I want to get into that a bit because I think if you've been a fan of WWE for the last 20 years, you are conditioned to believe that if you're not a champion, if you haven't won the world championship, your career hasn't amounted to much. You are not worthy of the attention of the audience.
Right.
And on one hand, that's a great way of saying that your title is worth it. But I grew up loving guys even before I was a fan, before I was born, really. Guys like Mr. Perfect never won the world title.
Love Mr.
Guys like Scott Hall never
Razor
won the
Ramon.
world title. Guys like Roddy Piper never won the world title. And we're still looking to these guys as benchmarks for this generation to work towards. And I think that's something that AEW is doing beautifully. Like, let's take Cody, for example.
Mhm.
If Cody sticks to his word and never gets that AEW title, is anybody going to say that Cody's run in AEW wasn't special or wasn't worthwhile? I don't think so. I think
not at all.
It has been so far.
I think it's created some magical moments.
Yeah.
If Pac never gets the AEW title, I think he is someday. I think he will be an AEW champion.
Since he came in, I thought he would be champion within the first 3-4 years.
Yeah,
I
think he'll grab it.
But if he doesn't, the stuff he's doing with Death Triangle is incredible.
Yeah, it doesn't take away the greatness. It doesn't.
So I think this is a beautiful thing that AEW is cultivating again, which is your success isn't dependent on the championship. It's something they are all striving for. That's why they have the weekly top power numbers. That's why they have the win-loss records. Everybody is looking to be champion, but your success is not defined whether or not you are the champion.
Right.
And that's why they do little things like giving Jungle Boy the award for getting to 50 wins the fastest, or giving MJF the ring. And I think a huge part of that is, the only having one world championship and one mid-card title.
Yep.
I know they're bringing in other titles from other promotions to kind of supplement that, to make certain episodes feel more special. And I think, there's diminishing returns on that, and it will hit that point eventually. But for now, just having the two titles and occasionally having these other titles defended on your show, it makes the wrestling universe feel bigger and more important, and it makes your titles feel more important.
Agreed.
Whereas, like you said, the people from back in the day, the Mr. Perfects, the Roddy Pipers, and all them, and they always mention that in promos that it's like, oh, like so-and-so's never world champion, still a Hall of Famer. But it's like, I think it's a little, as much as you can compare it to AEW, but I don't think you can compare WWE's past to modern WWE, because they show they're willing to put the title on anyone, and they have two of them, and they have two mid-card titles. So they kind of do just...
And two tag titles, and two women's titles.
One Jinder Mahal.
I argue that the women's titles are more prestigious because they only have the main event titles. They don't have a mid-card title. So those kind of feel more prestigious. So we all love Dolph Ziggler, but his first two title reigns, come on.
Terrible.
All right. I don't need to get into. I was there the night he cashed in Money in the Bank. That was an incredible moment.
That was the moment he deserved. The first two reigns where he had that feud with Edge, Dolph deserved better than that.
We're still not going with Ziggler, damn it.
Ziggler still deserves better, by the way.
All right, so just to circle this back to the Andrade portion of all this.
Wow.
We got a little sidetracked, but it was good. So with Rick there, Charlotte was also there. So now this is fueling a lot of speculation. Charlotte apparently told WWE she wasn't going to show up at a live event. I believe that was in Charlotte. And now there's all the speculation with Rick being released. He's going to go to AEW, and now he's with an AEW guy. So I don't really know what's going to go on here. I mean, everyone thinks Rick's going to go to AEW, and it seems likely. And then, there'll probably be some Four Horsemen shenanigans. But do any of us really think Charlotte's leaving anytime soon?
Rick stays. Rick leaves. He goes to AEW. I don't know. I can't see Charlotte leaving right now. I know she might want to, or
word is she is frustrated. Word is, but
she's so oversaturated. I hate to say that because Charlotte is great. She
No,
deserves
say it by all means. You don't
she
gotta
deserves
preface it
at
with
least
anything.
half of the accolades she's gotten. But damn, she does need a little break. So I wouldn't be mad. But I don't know. I don't think she leaves for some reason. I don't see it right now anyway. Just not now.
I am in agreement with Chad. I don't see it happening. She is by far their most consistent woman on the roster. And I mean, like,
especially
nothing
with Becky out.
Yeah, with Becky out
With
for
Becky
sure.
out, yeah.
And Bailey's out too.
I'd argue Charlotte was more consistent than Bailey.
Yeah, but I mean, just you're missing half the 4 horsewomen.
I think you can go. I
But
think they can go either way.
but point being, I don't see her leaving, but I'd be a liar. I'd be a damn liar if I said it wouldn't be like if she didn't win her 16th title somewhere else. That
Oh my God,
WWE
thank
built
you.
her up for like all these championships, and then she wins number 16 or number 17 elsewhere. And I mean, that's what happened with Rick. I think Rick has maybe 1 or 2 WWE title reigns.
Yeah.
Most of those are either WCW or mostly NWA.
NWA. Mhm.
And
they're not even sure it's exactly 16. Like if you
I
go
think it's
look
like
at,
18 or
Right?
19.
yeah, if you go look at like Meltzer's old like observers, like he's like it's anywhere from 16 to 23. Like I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure because he would like lose the title and then at a show and then they just NWA just wouldn't count it. And then like he would have the title at the next show.
There were also instances that I think there were titles that aren't officially recognized as world titles either anymore or like dubiously were back then. But regardless of that, the idea of Charlotte doing the same thing, dirtiest player in the game, daughter of the dirtiest player in the game,
It's not needed.
using WWE to prop her up to then have number 16 or number. Can you imagine if you are WWE and you've built her up this much and then number 16 is the AEW Women's Championship?
Or even more 17. She breaks
Or
it on
17.
even. Yeah.
That would be, I would be crying in my cubicle somewhere if I were a WWE exec.
Would never acknowledge it. She would come back and they put her in the Hall of Fame. She's like, she was a 15-time champion.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
That is
that would work
1,000%
out for
true.
them. They have no problem ignoring that.
Of
But I don't
course.
think Charlotte would ever leave.
Yeah.
Like, as frustrated as she's possibly been, like, it's one of those ones where, you know, it's like the what's the movie Zombieland where they're all like crying but they're wiping their tears with money, like
Yeah, Woody Harrelson.
right.
where it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Charlotte, you're frustrated that you had bad storylines.
Here, have the
Yeah.
title for 8 months.
Yeah. It's
That's
like,
exactly what
I
they're gonna do.
can only feel so bad. Like, my personal opinions of Charlotte's side, like, dude, I can't, like, if I love Randy Orton, but if he's complaining about shit, I'm like, come on, like,
Yeah.
you're gonna complain, like, come on.
No, I'm in agreement. I think AEW needs Charlotte more than Charlotte would need AEW.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, for sure.
that's not a knock on AEW because I think they've been putting in work in their women's division, but they could definitely use a little bit of a shot in the arm. And I think the NWA women's division has been helping in that regard.
Mhm.
But
You gotta bring in Deonna Purrazzo.
I mean,
champion versus champion match.
all the women from Impact are basically clamoring, from what I've seen on social media, to have this forbidden door include them. And I'm all for it. I think AEW benefits from it. I think Impact benefits from it. I'm loving, I don't know how invested everyone else is in the NWA stuff right now, but their Empower event is coming up and their women's event, like, it's looking great. And it's NWA opening the forbidden door for themselves. They've got AEW talent coming in. They've got Impact talent coming in. I know that they were trying to work something out with Ring of Honor, which would be incredible. Because I've been waiting for Ring of Honor to walk through the forbidden door with AEW. But I think AEW, going back to Charlotte, I think Charlotte would be that megastar that you can build the division around that they desperately need. I think Britt Baker is doing an incredible job. She is the perfect champion for them right now.
That'd be a dope match too.
Oh my God, I would love it. I would absolutely love it. But I think Charlotte is a name that will add eyes. I know she didn't necessarily do that for NXT, but that's just because nobody really wanted her there. In AEW, it's a new ball game. It's a new environment that I think a lot of people would be excited to see. But like everyone said, and I'm going to echo, I don't see her leaving WWE. I don't think she needs to in any way right now. The only way I could see it is if she wants to be with Andrade, but
I'll give a quick hot take. I see Britt Baker in WWE before I see Charlotte in AEW.
Wow.
I don't think either of them might happen. So I mean, it might be off the hook for both.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think it'll happen either way, but if it does, I see it going that way as opposed to Charlotte going to AEW.
Yeah,
Charlotte,
I mean, the only thing I would like about that is I think a Britt Becky match is a way bigger match than the Britt Charlotte match. Like,
Britt with anyone, really, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I like to see. Just for promos too. I think Britt's great on the mic.
Oh my
and
God.
Then Adam Cole. I mean,
Oh my God. Wait, no, I'm sorry, Chad. 1 second before we get to Cole. How did we say all those names and not say Britt Baker versus Bailey, role model versus role model?
Yeah.
How did we not? Like, that would be incredible.
Ever. I'm a Bailey fan, fanatic almost. For real. I love Bailey.
Hey, I'm a hugger.
I was a hugger too, man. I love that.
Were you at NXT Brooklyn, the Sasha Bailey match?
Yep, I was there.
Great match.
Great match. That was so good.
Great match.
I will say this about the possibility of Charlotte going to AEW would be for the women's division on the level of when AEW got Jericho in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like it just adds such a huge big name star to the top of your roster.
I hate Charlotte, but I agree with that. I'd say it might be a little bigger than getting Jericho.
Relatively, yeah.
I'd say it's the equivalent of when Moxley went over.
Yeah, you're probably close because it's more of a contemporary in terms of age and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Charlotte is now, at her pinnacle in her prime. So yeah, definitely.
That shot in the arm to the women's division though might be Ruby Soho. A lot of rumors going around there, and I think she'd be right at the top of the card pretty quickly.
She just apparently came to New York to film something, a promo or something. I mean, if the rumors are to be believed,
a promo video.
Yeah.
I saw that was filmed, and I was actually curious if it was a teaser to maybe her showing up at either the Newark or Queen show. But that's just baseless speculation out of me.
She's a Chicago girl. She's from Chicago.
Yeah. She could do it tomorrow night.
Yeah, you got that too.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. I don't know. I assume her non-compete is almost up. So
yeah, it has to be.
It has
to be
within the month.
Post WrestleMania cuts, right?
I think her versus Thunder Rosa would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Danny. I think she was post Mania.
Yeah, she was.
Yes, Reverend. Absolutely, her versus Thunder Rosa. And Thunder Rosa versus everyone, by the way.
Yeah,
100% on Thunder Rosa train.
Yeah.
Thank God she's all elite now and still doing stuff with NWA, I think, which is awesome.
Yeah. Is she going to be on the Empower show?
I don't know, but I wouldn't be shocked. I feel like she was such a cornerstone for them for such a long time that I can't see her missing that show because they're still working with NWA now that we've got Camille versus Layla Hirsch.
Yeah.
And so that relationship is still thriving. At least the women's division relationship is still thriving.
Well, that's all we need the relationship for, really.
Are you telling me that NWA wouldn't have benefited from Kenny taking the title off Nick Aldis?
Oh, no, I mean AEW.
I like Nick Aldis giving that up.
Hey, Kenny having another belt benefits everybody. Yeah. Like I wanted money. That. Yes, that goes without saying.
No, Mela is money. Come on, man.
I like Carmella.
It'd be great to put her in AEW's women's division.
I like her.
I mean, yeah, I honestly, anything that AEW can do to boost the women's division is good because they took a tough hit because of COVID because they lost a lot of the people I think they were going to push because they had a lot of Joshi wrestlers and they all ended up being stuck in Japan. So I think the COVID era, as great as Shida was as champion, and I love her, it was a little hard to build the division. But now I know Kenny has been talking about wanting to put a lot of women's matches on Rampage and get them more time. Right. And build more storylines. So I think that's going to be good. We got to move on. We got some New Japan to talk about. A couple of things happening. First off, being Will Ospreay coming back. Will Ospreay hasn't been seen in a while, again due to COVID stuff. So he's back. He wants his title back, and as is tradition, he is pissed off.
Who's the current champ again?
Shingo of Los Ignorables de Japan.
Okay. This guy knows his shit. I love it.
I watched Resurgence. Ospreay was a legit surprise. He was, I don't think, on anybody's radar to show up. We had been hearing a positive. We'd been hearing some positive updates about his return, but I still think we all thought we were a way off. And I think his involvement now on Strong is really exciting. And I think we keep talking about these companies getting shots to the arm, but it's a shot in the arm to what New Japan was trying to do in the United States. The entire event was, but specifically with Ospreay, you have the former world champion now returning, still claiming to be the world champion, refusing to wrestle until they call Shingo an interim champion. And
I like that.
Most more companies don't do it, honestly. I think that could lead to a lot, like UFC style, could lead to a lot of interesting storylines.
I mean,
absolutely.
NXT did it with the Cruiserweight Championship, and that worked well.
Yeah.
But I think there is a lot to mine here, and I don't know if they're going to bring over his stable. I don't know if they're going to bring over Jeff Cobb and the rest of his group, but at the very least, Strong is going to have some, no pun intended, some strong names now on the show. You have, in addition, you have Jay White, you have the Good Brothers, you have Finn Juice. Well, at least Juice, because Finley might be going to WWE. But now Gorillas of Destiny coming to confront the Good Brothers.
They confront the Good Brothers,
which I know we want to talk about. But this event did wonders to reinvest people into New Japan. And not just in terms of the Forbidden Door and what this means for everyone else, for AEW, for whoever, but just for Impact. But for New Japan themselves, this was an incredible event. And I'm excited for what's coming next. I know they teased Jay White versus Ishii, which is going to be phenomenal. I know that they've been teasing. We have new IWGP United States champion Tanahashi, and they've been teasing him versus Moxley, and that's going to be incredible.
Add that to the list of big names you just mentioned. And
Tanahashi.
Tanahashi, Moxley, and the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer,
who my heart breaks for him losing the title, but I'm glad that he got that moment in Texas beating Moxley.
Yeah.
But point being, New Japan, at least their United States stuff, is going to be a show to keep your eye on, folks. It's something that is going to be great wrestling with big names that you could rally behind. So everyone, I recommend it. And of course, now, if you are a fan of the Forbidden Door and all these back and forths, having the Gorillas of Destiny, Bullet Club OGs, really, taking on the OGs of the Bullet Club, the Good Brothers. It's exciting stuff. It's a good time to be a Bullet Club fan. It's a good time to be a New Japan fan.
Yeah, and that match could happen in New Japan. That could happen in Impact. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it would happen in AEW, but it's plausible. I mean, who knows if Will Ospreay ends up showing up on Impact? Like, there's a lot of stuff here for the Forbidden Door where this thing's off the hinges. Like, they literally came over, unscrewed it, and took it off the hinges and put it next to him. Like, your dad was punishing you locking the door all the time.
And if we want to keep speculating, like, one of the first things I thought of with the Ospreay return is, well, this supposed Daniel Bryan debut is coming up. And I feel like Ospreay said several times, and Bryan said several times, they want to wrestle each other. So if there's ever a reason for that door to be off the hinges, and I know it's a lot of speculation into the future, but
Wants that. Brian wants that. I know he does.
I mean, I'm hearing
Absolutely.
reports even today. I'm hearing that one of the big things for Bryan Danielson is Will Ospreay, as Danny said. So I think we're also ignoring something here. There are 2 IWGP championships now. If Will Ospreay is claiming that he's still champion, and he's in the United States right now, it's a nice belt to be collected.
yeah,
And if
think
Kenny Omega is going to go after the IWGP championship, if that relationship opens up even more, which I think we all want it to, Kenny claiming to be the IWGP champion while competing against whoever the IWGP champion will be in Japan. That the word of the day is exciting, and damn it, I am excited.
There's a certain golden lover I'd like to see involved in that.
Golden lover, baby. You can't see it, but I am like,
oh, we see it. We got
hard nips right now for the golden lover.
okay.
All right.
I gotta say, with all of this going on, it's making me kind of, again, I have no basis in this, but it's making me think, are we eventually going to see an All-In 2? Another big mega show with all of these companies coming together and selling out something big?
I think we will.
May I interject real quick,
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead, James, and let Chad get back in.
The last Impact show, the last Impact pay-per-view, they were promoting their next event. I off the top of my head, I don't know what it is, but their next pay-per-view, they had the logos of not just Impact, but AEW and New Japan. I think we're gonna, as Nick, you hit it. I think they're planting the seeds. Absolutely. And I don't know if it's gonna be All In 2. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I think we're gonna get another super show. And it's, oh my God, what a time.
I definitely think we are. I don't know. I have no time frame, of course, but I agree. I see it. I know it. It's coming. I can feel it.
You know what I find funny? Impact's kind of ended up as like the Avengers for all, like not like the like not the team, the movie where everybody else just always ends up in Impact, and that like that's the crossroads for every character in wrestling that isn't in WWE right now.
Well, let's be honest. Impact. I mean, this will make James happy. Impact has literally built the groundwork for years to be such like, of course it was like the B show when all the WWE shit was going on, but even lasting through that to be where it is now, amazing. If anything, you have to at least respect that.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, it appears we're getting an Eric cameo here at towards the end of the show, and he's gone.
And he's gone. Classic Eric.
Son of a bitch.
But yeah, no, Impact has made great strides. I must admit, you have to, regardless of who you're loyal to, you have to admit that.
Yeah.
And to bounce off what Chad said, I think at the end of the day, we're all winning in a way. You Absolutely. Can be an AEW fan, you could be a New Japan fan, you could be an Impact fan, you could be a WWE fan, you could be a Ring of Honor fan, you could be an NWA fan. There is so much wrestling now,
right,
that anybody could find something that they'll like. If you like deathmatch wrestling, go watch GCW. If you like hard-hitting wrestling, go watch New Japan. If you want the drama, the spectacle, go watch WWE. If you want a mix of everything, go watch AEW. Now is the perfect time. If you are a wrestling fan, or better yet, if you are a lapsed wrestling fan and you're looking for something to get you back into it, take your pick.
Literally.
Take your pick, guys. Please.
You just want us to go watch GCW because Matt Cardona is champion.
All right. Matt Cardona did nothing wrong. He's doing everything right. And finally, the man is a world champion.
I am of the 10% who loves Matt Cardona. So.
I just want it known on the record, in 2021, Matt Cardona is a world champion and Edge still isn't.
Hey,
Rightfully so. Right.
when you're right, you're
There
right.
you go.
When you're right, you're right.
I mean, this wasn't on the docket, but I think he has been doing a fantastic job as a heel in that company by
Yo, he's
basically
doing
by
amazing.
just
Yeah,
being
he's doing-
WWE speak guy.
Yo,
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's great. I'm surprised no one has done more of that.
it shows that with that company, WWE, that they have so much untapped potential. If you just let them fly free for a month, even if it's just ridiculous, stupid shit, let them just relax and do kind of what they want for a month. You'll see so much better options.
Yeah,
I
a
mean,
lot of
I
guys who
think
leave
killing it.
WWE, a lot of guys who leave WWE and go to AEW, like Malachi Black and Moxley, they talk about the amount of freedom they have and how much.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
sometimes they say better, but they usually try to be a little politicky and say, just
Right.
different and refreshing. That it is, and I think it really benefits the wrestler as a person and as a character.
Absolutely.
Annie, you were gonna say something.
Oh, well, in regards to Matt Cardona specifically, I think he, we all fondly remember Z True Long Island story. And we all laugh about it now because they buried him after, but he really
A
set
damn
the
wheelchair.
template for all of wrestling YouTube. He set that template. He did that before anyone else. And
Absolutely.
hell, wrestling podcasts, there's string, there's a lot of red string you can tie together that ties back to Zack Ryder doing
It's
Z
true.
True
Hell yeah.
Long Island story.
You can draw
Oh,
a
yeah.
straight line from Zack Ryder to AEW.
Yeah, you can.
Oh,
Literally.
But
absolutely.
you can
Absolutely.
literally draw it. It's a long
Yeah.
way, but
So yeah, he accidentally it took
And
a
there's a
while, but
reason.
he revolutionized wrestling. It's
and there's a
unbelievable.
reason Cody said in an interview a couple of years ago that if he could have any guy from WWE, it would have been Zack Ryder because he knows how to get himself over.
And they
he's
didn't
doing
do
with
it.
Another company. I
They
know.
did not.
He showed up, and then I think he just found his not life, but I think he just thought it would
I
be
think he just
better
wanted to
over an
explore
Impact
more.
and then GCW. But hey, he's doing well, and I'm very happy he is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
All right,
pretty
so-
sure they'll Drew McIntyre him at some point in time. See everything he's done greatly and take him back at the E.
If he wants to.
Yeah, he might not want. Well, I mean,
And
yeah, that's true.
if anyone's exhausted, it should be him.
Oh my god.
Literally. So I get it. I'm cool with it.
But just one last thing on Cardona. Look at how we were all talking about, how WWE sort of can sometimes stifle talent. Look at comparatively AEW and how they handled Fuego del Sol. The man got himself over on Sammy's vlog, on the internet, doing all this stuff. And how is he rewarded? With a contract.
With a contract.
You don't need to win to be over as fuck.
Yeah.
And
Just
I'm
need to be
so-
the master of the tornado DDT.
It's
Yeah,
as simple
also-
as that.
The Tornado DDT, the Fuego's Tornado DDT in AEW is sold like death, and I love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like QT
Absolutely.
sold the hell out of it, and anytime anybody gets hit with it, or threatens to get hit with it, they're freaking out. Miro sold it like death. It was I just love how they just sell the
I'm sold.
hell out of that.
I'm sold.
Yeah, and Fuego's gonna be a good guy to. I mean, everybody loves him in the locker room from what I've read and heard. But yeah, fine, he's not gonna win, but you can bring people in and they can get some good heat, on
Exactly.
Dark or on Elevation,
Yeah.
beating Fuego, and maybe one day we end up with a 1, 2, 3 kid type of deal.
Hell yeah.
I can
And
see it.
he wins the
MJF,
title off somebody by
absolutely.
accident.
Everybody loves a Mikey Whipwreck. Everyone enjoys a Colin Delaney. We
Hurricane. I mean, I know
but good.
Hurricane won, but that type of guy.
I liked Hurricane.
Yeah.
That man pinned the Rock.
That's
Nothing
true.
else.
Yeah, no, I know he
He's-
won
he's-
things, but
he did.
he was a serious underdog. The Rock selling him flying off of those backstage promos was by far the best part of that feud. He was just like, all right, guys, we got a little bit of time left here. You want to wrap it up with some CM Punk talk?
Absolutely. You see the shirt.
CM Punk.
So,
good shirt.
Punk posted on Instagram the other day. I believe it was 3 numbers of 05, 11, and 21. Rampant speculation. I think eventually people started figuring out it was very important years in his career. I believe 05 was his debut. 11 was the pipe bomb, if I'm not mistaken, and now 21.
Mhm.
He's allegedly returning to wrestling for reals this time, not under a mask,
For real.
and going to AEW. So, Chad, since you are in the CM Punk shirt, go ahead. What are you looking forward to with CM Punk? When do you think he's going to show up? And what do you think he's going to do?
Phillip Brooks.
Phil Brooks, Walking Dead enthusiast.
I don't even know what to say. I love CM Punk. I've always loved CM Punk from like since ECW, the whole Benoit and Elijah Blake shit. I think I'm of the belief that we see him this month. I think.
You think it's this week in Chicago? Yeah.
Lord, I hope so. I mean, I want to believe that. Yes, I think we see him in Chicago. I think. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, man. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. I don't even care. I just want to see him.
Perfect world for you. What do you want out of his first night back? What do you want him to do?
Oh, he did. He literally has to do nothing. He can just walk in the arena at AEW and they can show his face and they can just zoom out and I'm good. Night made.
Like Cena, when he came back, he literally just walked out. You can't see me to Roman, and then walked back out.
I like that shit. That's what I like in comebacks. The simplest, smallest detail is good enough for me.
That's not the craziest thing. If they had him come back out late on Dynamite, and then like his first promo was on Rampage, and then the stuff that they're teasing with Darby happened on Rampage. I mean, that's not crazy.
That would
I don't
be
think
amazing.
So. I can tell you this right now. My family are, peripheral wrestling fans. Like my dad's into it. My mom is into it as much as she could be when she had a son who's watched as much as I have since I was a kid.
Right.
And I can tell you, they both know about the CM Punk rumors and they are both going to be watching Rampage on Friday because they recognize how big a deal this is. And I think that speaks to the level of excitement generated by this new wrestling landscape.
Right.
Anything is possible again. This isn't just WWE's universe anymore. This is an entire wrestling galaxy, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah. Multiverse.
Multiverse.
Yeah, no, literally, like you have one part of the multiverse, and it's WWE, and they stick with their stuff, and they do whatever they want, and everyone else is in the other side, and they're in the other multiverse, and they're starting to commingle together.
Yeah,
except maybe Ring of Honor, but but hopefully they get them in too. And
but there is just I can't remember the last time people were this excited. Like, yeah, we get pops when Edge returned. That was a nice pop,
Absolutely.
When
it was my birthday, I was excited.
That was fantastic. When Daniel Bryan won at WrestleMania 30, there was excitement, there was passion. When the Hardys returned at WrestleMania, there was excitement, there was a pop. But this is the first time that there's like this air of almost hope again for wrestling.
Right.
That there's this, man, I can't wait till next week. Oh man, like I can't wait to watch TV. I can't wait to watch live TV. And it's just, as someone who's been a nonstop wrestling fan for the last 20-ish years, without a break. I didn't take time off. I've been watching for 20-ish years now.
You poor thing.
How are you so optimistic?
There's something wrong with me. But it's nice to say, you know what? I'm excited, and I think it's going to pay off.
It has to.
I think the newness of AEW too, I think helps add to the optimism.
I agree,
Danny. That it was stagnant there for a while, and then all of a sudden, this brand new promotion with the money to back it comes out of nowhere, and then they start getting some names, and I think people are like, "Holy shit! Like we got something new here. We got something good." And then they started involving everybody else that they wanted to, because all those guys are friends, and
I think. Like as we were just saying, how like you could draw a straight line from Zack Ryder doing Zicho Long Island Story to AEW, like somewhere on that line is also CM Punk. Like CM Punk
I agree.
led. It's another thing that was a huge catalyst. Like we're all wrestling fans. Like I was a fan when the pipe bomb came out. I was watching, but like I feel like for a lot of people, that's where they became marks or like internet fans, where they
Right.
started checking online to see what was really going on. Is this guy really leaving? What's going on with that? And then, I'm not saying like a crazy amount of people left, but a decent chunk of people definitely stopped watching with Punk. And even though, all those moments you mentioned, I'd argue the Dan O'Brien stuff was the last time we had hope, really. Like, because, that was leaving the WWE bubble. That was like, yes, chance happening at sports games and everything.
They still do.
CM Punk was kind of involved, like him walking out played a big part in that, like, kind of thing. So for him to come back, like, I think anyone who just knows anything about wrestling in the last decade knows that that's a big deal. Like,
oh yeah,
even if like even if they can't even tell you what CM Punk looked like off the top of their head, they've heard the name. Like, so like they have a friend that likes wrestling, they know who CM Punk is, because like he is the reason so many of us, like, he changed us from fans to like hardcore fans. Like, he was that person for a lot of people.
I mean, the pipe bomb literally started the r/squared circle subreddit. Like it was because they wanted to talk about it on whatever subreddit it was, and the moderator there wasn't having it, and they started the fans of the pipe bomb started a new subreddit to talk about it, and now it's like one of the preeminent places to get your like wrestling news. Like it's just as an aggregator.
Right.
All right. So I have a CM Punk idea, because everyone's like, "What the hell is he gonna do?" No one's really sure. They're teasing this stuff with Darby, but I have an idea.
Let's hear it.
So Cody's been getting booed.
Shocker.
So yeah, which is weird, because like this started and Cody was like the most like face over person there was, because this was like his idea.
Mm-hmm.
But he's starting to get booed now, and he's in this. I know he's in this feud with Black, but let's say he loses this feud and he turns heel, and he becomes more of like a corporate Cody, and and then maybe starts like burying people, like, so to speak. And then Punk faced him as the voice of the voiceless, as you've become the corporate guy that you were always fighting against, and now I'm here to take you down because that's what I do. I fight for the voice of the voiceless.
Are you fantasy booking you, Mark, right now? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, a little bit. Yes, I am. But I have no idea what he's gonna do. It was just an idea I had, and I actually think it's the best one I've ever had. But
I've known you a long time. Yes, that is one of your best ideas.
I don't have a lot of good ones.
I think that's the beauty of Punk coming back right now. The landscape is so wide open for him to do whatever he wants to do. Right. He can, if I'm not advocating for it, but if he went straight into the title picture, is anyone going to be like, CM Punk going for the title? Really? No one's going to be upset.
They don't really do that though.
They don't, but it's,
he's got to get wins.
I agree, but we're also dealing with a complete unknown quantity at this point.
Yeah, Punk's
so unorthodox.
Yeah,
Punk's a lot different than Christian coming in. And
exactly.
Christian's character is, I want to earn my way, I outwork everybody. Punk's character is like, nah, I'm that motherfucker. Like, I'm taking this title. But then he loses his first feud, so I don't know.
Take him out of the title picture. What, Danny?
I don't want him to lose his first feud.
Oh, me neither.
I don't want him facing Kenny if it means he's going to lose his first match or first
I
feud.
I agree.
Yeah, I think they should hold off on Kenny for a little bit. Just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Save the money matches while you... I mean, he's not a spring chicken. He's not a young guy, so don't wait too long. But at the same time, you spread this stuff out. Don't go full throttle from the beginning. I agree on that. But even if you don't want to put Kenny in the title picture, not Kenny, even if you don't want to put Punk in the title picture, and you have him wrestling young guys like Darby and establishing young guys and giving them the rub because he's CM Punk, people are going to watch that match. That's fantastic. Or if you want to put Punk in the TNT title picture, you can. If you wanted to put Punk anywhere, it's going to draw a buzz
works.
and it's
It's
going to
gonna-
feel
It's gonna work.
he's going to deliver. It's CM Punk. He
That's
doesn't
why
not
actually
deliver.
I really like the Darby stuff because even though Darby's one of their most over faces, the lots fans that might come back to see Punk are going to see him face this guy with his face half painted, and they're going to see Sting in his corner and be like, holy shit, Sting's here too. Like, and why does Sting like this guy? And they're going to be curious. And it's just as over as Darby is, even losing to Punk is going to just push him even more up.
That would be
card. And-
so refreshing. Sorry to cut you off, but yeah,
no,
that's
that was pretty
good.
much it. That was my whole point. Is that I think this is one of those cases where literally losing to Punk elevates whoever he beats, at least, especially at first. Like
Punk is a
Darby being the first one is money for Darby.
Punk is appointment television. So whoever he goes up against, he's gonna have eyeballs on him. So yes, facing a guy like Darby could introduce him to an entire new audience. And like you said, Darby is over as fuck, and everybody loves him. So yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm excited to see where all of this goes. I think, like James said, the word of the day is excited. The word of the wrestling year has been excited. You know, and then who knows what's going to happen in the next month or two? You know, between Punk and then we got Daniel Bryanson allegedly, Brian Danielson, excuse me.
Gotta get into that. Gotta get ready.
Yeah, that's gonna be another show.
Just say Brian, cover
Yeah, that's what I do. I do Brian.
Yeah, that's probably the way to go. But you know, apparently he's gonna come to AEW, and I mean, hell, we did this whole show. We haven't even mentioned SummerSlam is this weekend and a takeover.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
You know,
Because-
like there's a lot going on. It's unbelievable. So
And let's mention now, we will be doing a live reaction to SummerSlam. We will be doing a live reaction to NXT Takeover.
Yep.
And we'll give you guys links on how to follow us there.
Yep. We will be doing most of that on Facebook. Mark It Down Podcast over on Facebook. We will be getting our YouTube channel up and running as well. There's also Mark It Down. Yeah, it's we're gonna be coming out hot. We're gonna be coming out with a lot of stuff. I know we're gonna be trying to do some post Dynamite reactions as well live over on Facebook. So when we get those up and running, we will let everybody know as soon as we can. Anybody have any final thoughts before we wrap things up? Anything we didn't talk about? Anything we want to discuss?
The Reigns Cena promo is only good if you're an internet wrestling fan. And to everyone else, it's probably weird.
Wow.
I have to imagine there is a group of 10-year-olds that loves John Cena and had no idea what he was talking about when he was blowing a kiss goodbye.
I
like Cena.
You guys know this. Nick, you know this very well. I am a fruity pebble for life. I am a yabba dabba bitch. And
You're literally John Cena guy in Ring of Honor.
I am the John Cena guy from Ring of Honor. I will forever carry the John Cena flag. I will wave it proudly. And growing up being a John Cena fan was hard, but I did it.
Had to be.
And I then was a Roman Reigns fan when no one was a Roman Reigns fan. When people were booing him out of arenas, I was the guy I was that one guy in the arena cheering for him. That was me. So this feud, when they're both at the top of their game on the mic, physically, everything, inject it into my veins now.
Who wins, James?
I mean,
Reigns.
it's got to be
Roman's gotta
Roman.
take it.
It's got to be Roman. Do I think that there is a beauty, a magic to Cena getting his 17th reign off Roman? Yeah, but I don't think now is the time. I think if Cena ever hits number 17, it's when he's going to be around for a long time, and I don't see that happening now with all of his filming commitments.
Yeah,
but
Peacemaker,
Yeah,
man,
got
great.
this show.
Suicide
Super
Squad
excited.
was great, and I'm
It
glad that
was.
Cena's getting that recognition.
Yep.
And you know,
Where he belongs.
yeah,
Hollywood.
I'm happy for him. I want him to succeed no matter what he does. He's earned it. And God willing, like, hey, I'll be cheering for Cena because I'm a mark. I root for the good guy. I just do. And
Oh, I'll be rooting for Cena on Saturday. Like I
will also be
assume he's not
rooting
going
for
to win, but like I want to see him win. It'd be
I will
funny.
not be
I mean, in a perfect world, he gets 17 and then Big E cashes almost immediately, and he puts over
Yeah.
Big E. Because
why would you
he's
put that
wanted to.
evil out there for me right now? I'm out here like, yeah, Cena and Roman, this is gonna be great. And he's like, Big E, Big E,
But-
Big E.
I only say that because I
Corbin's gonna
know.
cash in.
Don't ever say that again. But the only reason I say that is because I know for a fact that Cena has been a Big E fan since like the inception of Big E. So I can only imagine him putting him over. Like, you know what that would do for Big E?
Yeah.
But
I don't know
also-
if that Roman title reign is running scores yet. So
no,
They might
I
be
think
saving it.
I think he's good till probably Survivor Series at least.
yeah. Well, none of that becomes a whole conversation of are they holding out till WrestleMania against The Rock, and that's a whole nother episode that we do not have time
Right.
for.
Yeah.
Then don't we also doesn't he run into his second year as
Oh
champion?
yeah. He won it, I think, at what, SummerSlam?
No, the pay-per-view
yeah,
after.
right.
As the head of the table.
No, he won it after he came back at SummerSlam last year, and they won it the pay-per-view that was a week later after SummerSlam for some
Yeah.
reason.
Okay, so we're
Last
pushing
year.
a year now.
We're getting there. We're getting
Okay.
there.
Okay.
I think Roman holds on for a significant amount of time, but hey, I also thought Kenny was going to be holding on for a significant amount of time.
Boom.
You know, look
Well,
what happened there. So,
Wrestling.
let's see. Let's see. I think if you do take the title off Roman and then put it back on him, I don't think it hurts the story all that much. But
No, it doesn't.
you know, there is also something to having Roman being the undefeated champion until he faces Rock. So if he faces Rock, which God willing.
yeah, I want that so
I
bad.
would cry. Literal
I-
tears.
I think I
no
think
COVID, I'll be there.
I think one more if Brock could get one more match in, I think him against Roman is it. You know,
Yeah.
family
He's
versus
built.
family.
Rock can get 10 more matches in. I just wish
It's not even a matter of him not being able to
do
go.
it.
It's a matter of like the
Hollywood.
insurance. Yeah, in Hollywood. Yeah, he's got contracts to fulfill. Disney needs to make more Jungle Cruises, man.
Hey, put some respect on Black Adam's name, okay?
Oh, look.
I
This
can't
is
wait
the-
for that.
Yeah,
Oh
this
my
isn't the movie podcast, but damn, that's gonna be fun.
It's not, but I am also a DC mark, so
Well, this is the Mark It Down podcast, so we can mark. I guess we can technically mark out whatever we want.
true.
All right.
All right, guys. Looks like we're out of time. Not that we have a set time, but you know, we don't want to go too long. So I would like to thank everybody for listening to this. Hopefully, our first episode wasn't too rough, and we will be doing better as we go. Like we talked about before, check us out on Facebook and YouTube at the Market Down Podcast. So for myself, Nick Cummings, Chad Big Bag Johnson, Danny Hernandez, and James Gisante, this has been the Market Down Podcast. We will hopefully see you on Saturday after SummerSlam. Thank you and have a good one.